Praise be to God, everybody. As I started walking on this trail, I began to talk to God and say how I just feel so out of place sometimes because there's so many times I want to just spend time with God and life gets in the way. So my time that I walk on the trail is when I really try to take the most time to talk to God, and even then the enemy tries to come upon me by putting thoughts in my head about things that have nothing to do with my time with God. But I'm here to say today to somebody that goes through the same things that I go through. Your time with God could be in the car while you're driving on the highway. It could be while you're putting on your makeup in the bathroom. It could be while you're preparing a meal in the kitchen. God just wants your time. If it's a few minutes here, a few minutes there, He just wants your time. It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter how long it is. What matters is that you take the time, you sacrifice of your time to give back to Him because He deserves it. He loves you. He loves you so very much, more than we could ever fathom in any way, shape, or form. We limit ourselves because we put limitations on God, and there are no limitations for God. There's nothing that He can't do. Nothing is impossible with God. We as humans are limited, but God has no limits. And we cut ourselves short because we worry about what people think, what people say. We let life get in the way of what God has for us. And we can't continue to do that if we're trying to live in His purpose. Not if we're trying to live, if we are living in His purpose. God has been too good. If you just sit back and reflect over your life and you think about where you were to where you are now, even if the change has only been a little, it's still change. We take God for granted, and He doesn't deserve that. If you just woke up this morning in your right mind with the activity of your limbs, with a roof over your head, clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, even if those weren't the things that you wanted to have, God supplied those needs to make it possible for you to have what you have. We've got to learn to be more thankful, more appreciative. We walk around sometimes complaining about what we don't have, what others have that we don't have, but what God has for us is for us. Maybe we're not ready for what He has for us. Maybe we're not in alignment for His purpose yet. Maybe what that other person has, we don't know their struggle for them to get it. We've got to let go of being envious and jealous of others for what they have when we don't know what they did or what they went through to get to where they are. And we're so judgmental, so judgmental. She's doing Sunday school. Well, is she saved? Is it your business if she's saved or not? Because God can use anybody however He wants, whenever He wants, wherever He wants. Like my cousin said, if He can take a donkey, then why can't He use any of us, the least of us, the best of us? God doesn't tend to use those that are already out there and living their best life. He takes those that think that they can't be anything, that they won't be anything. Because that's how He gets the most of His glory. He takes those that nobody thought, but He knew all along from the time we were in our mother's wombs, even before when our mothers were in our grandmother's wombs. God already knew. He already had your purpose planned. God, and I'm just in awe, and I'm just so thankful that You have the final say over our lives and not man. I'm just thankful for who You are in my life. And though I sin and fall short every single day, I know that You're there to pick me back up. And I stay encouraged for that, even though I get down sometimes. My faith is in you, God, not man or anybody else, because man will flip-flop on you. Society has their ideas of what we should and what we shouldn't be, what we should look like, how we should talk, we should dress. But all that doesn't matter to God. He just wants you to put him first. He wants to be your everything. Everything. In Matthew it says, seek ye God, the kingdom of God first, and all his righteousness. That means put him in first in everything that you do. Everything that you do. And he'll take care of the rest. All he wants is for you to give him your time and your love and be faithful to him. That's all he asks. That's all he asks. And just ask yourself, is this life that you're living now more important, more valuable? Getting your bag, being the most popular on social media, being the most successful in your family, being the first to do this, being the first to do that. Are you really the first? Or does it really matter? What should matter more than anything in this world is putting God first. Because once you put him first, he'll give you the desires of your heart. But you gotta seek him first. And even if that's in 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, just take that time and focus solely on God. And don't beat yourself up if you can't do 30 minutes every day. The sacrifice is what's most important to him. That you take the time, that you want the time, that you desire to have the time with him. Because he deserves it. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. We wouldn't be able to get up and walk and talk and breathe and live and eat and drink, love, shop, post on social media, go to work, take care of our kids, our grandkids. All of that glory belongs to God and God only. There's no such thing as a self-made person. How'd you get here? Did you just poof and show up one day? No. God created you. He made it possible for you to be here. Everything that you think you did on your own, God did it. Every time you think that, oh, this is what I did. No, you didn't. God made a way for you to make it possible. God deserves all the glory in everything. And for those that aren't believers, hey, that's your choice. Because God is so awesome, he gives us free choice in everything that we do. We can choose to serve him or we could choose not to. But with every action, there's a reaction and there's a consequence for it. It's funny because I think about a lot of people that I know that are believers or say they're believers, and I think of people that are not. And I'm going to use the award show. No, not the Oscars. I'm going to use different award shows growing up over the years. And one thing that I always noticed, that the rappers, that the R&B singers, country singers, any singer, no matter what kind of life we saw them live in the media, it's amazing how they would get up there and the first thing out their mouth is, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. I want to thank God. So kind of ask yourself, as a believer, as a Christian, when things go on in your life that you seem to think are successful or great, is that the first thing that comes out of your mouth? I'd like to thank God for everything that I have. I'd like to thank God for everything that's possible. I'd like to thank God for just being here. If it's not, then I challenge you to take time with God. Have a conversation with Him. Ask Him to show you from where you came from. Remind you. Just remind you of His splendor, of His awesomeness. This was just some random thoughts I had as I sat here, as I paused in my walk during my time with God. Now, mind you, I'm nowhere near perfect, nor ever will be, nor ever have been. I've messed up a lot of things in my life. I've messed up stuff and probably threw some people off the path of where they were supposed to be. But God is a forgiving God. And everything that I messed up, God can fix it. And I'm thankful to Him for that. I'm thankful because He orders my steps. He creates opportunities for me. He gives me choice. And even at the end of the day, if I mess all that up, He forgives. He bestows His grace and His mercy. And He allows me to see a glimmer of hope. And I just thank Him. And this is just a little something I wanted to share. Be blessed, everybody.